30 years ago, we started Lima Martial Arts Academy here in Culver City, California. When we started our academy, we had two things in mind. The first one was to transform our academy in a second home to all our students. And the second thing was to have a very safe methodology of teaching, especially for the beginners. Many beginners, they take martial arts and then they get hurt, or because the school rush too many movements, they end up quitting the training. So we start the beginners very slow so they don't get hurt and they build confidence for continued training in the future. So a lot of people that come to Lima Martial Arts, if they go to another place, they end up quitting. That's one of the secrets we have, is a safe methodology of teaching to avoid accidents, and we've been very successful with it. So it's 30 years right now, and that's one of the most important things here at the Academy.
During all these years, we had thousands of people and students pass through our school. However, when we started, was only two people that started this organization, Andre and I. Our first location was here in Culver City, 2 blocks away from this location. And the history about that location was we got a second floor space. We had limited parking space over there. Also, when you advertise our studio, we didn't put our name outside Lima Martial Arts or Lima Taekwondo. We actually put the name Karate. At that time, on the 90s, karate was the big reference for martial arts. Everybody knew karate for the movies Karate Kid, Chuck Norris movie. Also, even Bruce Lee, a lot of people follow Bruce Lee. At that time, there was no MMA, there was no mixed martial arts name, so everything was calling karate. Kickboxing, the actually karate, Muay Thai, anything was called karate. So that's how we started. And you had our name karate outside, the phone number, and that's the way you advertise our studio. When we started, there was not thousands of students, it was only two. Little by little, we built it up. We started with Taekwondo and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. At that time, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was not famous as today. When we opened up, there was no UFC. So the Jiu-Jitsu was most knowledge by Brazilians, and only few Americans knew what was Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. One of the big challenges we had when you open up was because in Los Angeles, Taekwondo was dominated by the Koreans. So we have a lot of challenge to open up, to also build our name, and to tell people that we actually knew Taekwondo.
Los Angeles in the 90s and 80s was completely controlled by the Koreans when we talk about the Taekwondo universe, because after the Korean War, the biggest concentration of Koreans was in Los Angeles. That's why Taekwondo was so popular and so big here at that time. But we work hard, we build our name, we made a lot of advertisement. I remember at that time, the main source of that advertisement was the Yellow Page. There was no internet. And I remember we had ads on the Yellow Page. It was good for the whole year. The Yellow Page in the beginning, I remember, was just yellow and black. But later on, in the end of the 90s, they had color. So we had advertisement in color later on. Besides that, we had distribution of flyers around the neighborhood, in the mall, the Westfield Mall. Back then was called the Fox Hills Mall. advertisement on local magazines from the neighborhood, children magazines, small newspapers from the area. That's how the advertisement worked back then. Today is different, but that's the way it was a long time ago. We always kept the academy very controlled, organized. We always work hard to make our methodology even better. And all the success came from hard work.
In the transition of the 90s and 2000, we moved to this location. We finally have our sign outside as Lima Taekwondo. In this location, we had the space to grow. So we had a lot of students. Also, we have free advertise since the mall is right in front of us. Sepulveda is close to our location. So with the parking lot of the mall is right outside. So a lot of views, hundreds of people passing by, also hundreds of people parking over there. So we are very visible. Also in this location, because grow so much, we start opening the studio 7 days a week. Andrea and I are here every day, working, teaching, and that was our daily routine. At that time, I remember, since you're here all the time, September 11 happened, and we all the time going to the back room. We used to have a TV over there, so you're going watching the news, and all the students are comment. We had actually people that have some family members and relatives in New York. It was a very sad time. Besides that, all the history, the passing by, we are here, and we share with our instructors and students. At that time, also our daughter started training, and this was part of her education routine. Which Taekwondo and any other martial arts are really important for the kids because give them confidence, self-esteem, teach them how to lose and how to win. And the most important thing that we effort every day for the kids is the discipline. Any martial arts, you give this gift of the discipline for your kids. So we are really focused on that day by day, all the time.
We had 8 years that I can call great. And then in 2008, the recession hit the United States. And the academy continued strong, but was a little bit slower because for 8 years we considered overcrowded and went down to full. Still very good, but then we saw students losing jobs, students moving to other cities, and that was 2008. It was a little bit harder. And in 2009, still in recession, and a lot of martial arts schools in California start closing down. We had friends that own schools and they closed down. But we kept going strong. So in 2009, we received a letter from an academy on the South Bay. The name of the academy was Chambliss Taekwondo. It was at that time the biggest Taekwondo school in California with almost 10,000 square foot. The letter was offering the academy to us to buy it. And we end up deciding to buy the school. In the middle of the recession, the academy was going into bankruptcy. We got in there. Master Chris even told me at that time that she considered that that academy was an airplane that was going down, was going to crash. But we got inside the controls and we made it fly again. We bought the academy. It was a lot of stress. So 2008 and 9 was 2 hard years. And we took over the academy. For the first time, we put the name of the academy outside the building. We repaint the whole building. It was in Torrance. And we call it Lima Martial Arts. So this academy was Lima Taekwondo, that one was Lima Martial Arts, because it was really a martial arts center. The academy was going to bankrupt, and we decided to add Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, capoeira, and a fitness gym. We also add a lot of more Taekwondo classes. They didn't have adults class, so we add classes for adults. So the academy became a martial arts center. Later on, we had karate, we had kickboxing, we had esgrima, Kali esgrima. So it was more than fair to call Lima martial arts. The academy started growing again. In 12 months, we had 200 new students. When we got the academy, they could not pay the rent. We had to take money from this academy here in Culver City to pay the bills over there in Torrance. But our sacrifice and vision to get this new location pay off, because after a while we succeed and the academy start going up, and we had a lot of people coming suddenly, and the recession suddenly was in the past. Around 2011, everything was rolling again. So that's what happened back then.
In 2011, our lease for a new location Torrance expired, and we start negotiating with the landlord to renew a lease for long term and to try negotiate to lower the price. However, he was still charging the price before the recession. So we started looking for a new location. We found a place that used to be a ping pong club, very famous in the area. So it was a big location. They have a room on the side that we used to put our fitness gym over there. So we decided to move. And the location was beautiful, a lot of windows, natural light all the time, and next door to a lot of food place. So a lot of people can see us all the time, very convenient. And the parking lot also was really big. So at that time, we had even more martial arts styles. We had Muay Thai, we had Capoeira, and we can continue with our Taekwondo, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the fitness gym next door. And so at that time, we grow our numbers even more together with the after-school program. So the locations together, Culver City, that one in Torrance, and all the after-school program, we achieved the numbers of 1,000 students with everything together. Sometimes even you pass a little bit more. During those 8 years was like you traveling. And at that time, you have a team of about 25 instructors, masters, all together. And those years, we actually form a lot of our black belts. We decide to do not just one Taekwondo black belt test a year, we decide to do 2. So at that time, we form 1/3 of our black belts, which the total is near 900 black belts you formed since we opened the studio for 30 years. And the success was just keeping going more and more. So those 8 years, like we exploded in the numbers and also the styles, the instructors, and very successful.
In 2018, we got contact by a new shopping center in the area, a little bit outside Torrance, in the neighborhood called Harbor City. It's right next to Torrance. At that time, we are very happy on our location. We're not looking for location, but suddenly there was a location looking for us. They made a very good offer for us to become the first ones to move into this brand new little shopping mall with a pretty nice space. And we decided to move in 2018. And in that same year, finally, we changed the name Lima Taekwondo here in Culver City, and we put outside Lima Martial Arts. So from 2018 on, both academies are called Lima Martial Arts. We did that because first, we became a martial arts center through the years, and second, because the name martial arts became very popular because of mixed martial arts because of the UFC. All the time you hear mixed martial arts. And life was wonderful. Everything was good. Suddenly, in 2020, the whole thing changed. The world got hit with COVID-19, the pandemic. And Lima Martial Arts got hit with the pandemic too. So from everything going very well, suddenly we had to evolve, we had to change, and we start doing everything online. We open Zoom classes. Our headquarters was at a new location in Harbor City. We select a number of Taekwondo instructors, a small number, and every day we start teaching 6 classes online, all classes of 1 hour. It was difficult because we didn't have experience to teach online, but very quick we got a hang of it. It was tiring. Normally we had 2 or 3 instructors every time. So one of the instructors teach the class and had to do all the movements. And then he rest, the next one take over, and it was 6 hours. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. By Thursday, we are all tired because of so many thousands of blocks and kicks. And we have to do that every week, over and over and over. And the response was incredible. Our students, our following, our family follow us. There was hundreds of people online with us every day. We see them in their houses, in the garages, in the backyards of the house, training. We actually start signing people from other schools because a lot of schools starting to bankrupt. 30% of the fitness in Los Angeles closed down. CrossFit, gyms, martial arts. And what saved us really was the Taekwondo. Because the Jiu-Jitsu friends had a hard time doing it. In Jiu-Jitsu you need to have another body touching your body to do the movements. In Taekwondo we have a lot of stuff that we can do in the air, the forms, the kicks. So the Taekwondo basically saved the school, and we went down, but then we start going up, signing people from other countries. We had people signing with us in Europe, in Philippines. So we sign all these people because we put videos online of our classes, and people saw in different parts of the world, contact us, and then they sign up as a membership and start training with us. So that was a hard time, but we survived. I can tell you that in 30 years, that was the only time that Lima Martial Arts Academy was put to the test. And that is a reflex of many years of dedication and hard work. We love our students and they love us back.
Now, I will tell you about my history in martial arts. I was born in the middle of the rainforest in Brazil, in a small city in the state of Rondônia. Since I was a very young child, I have been involved in many sports, including swimming, volleyball, horseback riding, and many styles of dance, mostly ballet. Horseback riding was very special for me because of my strong connection with animals. In my entire childhood, I spent all my summers riding horse, swimming lakes and rivers, plus learning about ecology. But with all the sports I trained as a kid, the one I stayed more persistent was dance. Most important, the style of ballet. I trained in many variations of dance from 3 to 13 years old. I participated in many showcases, performances, and competitions all those years. Then, as a younger teenager, I moved to a new state. I couldn't find any dance school nearby. However, I found a Taekwondo academy 3 blocks away. I scheduled a trial class in the evening and ended up signing up right after, and until today, I never stopped it. My beginning Taekwondo had full force. I was able to adapt to the physical and mental discipline of ballet, bring with me flexibility, coordination, speed, and physical power to the martial arts. In a very short time, I was already participating in small tournaments. However, as fun and accomplished it sounds, it was a very challenging time in my life. It was very difficult for me to train without other girls in the academy. Many times, I was the only one there. I had to train much more than everyone else to be able to keep it up with the boys. So I got used to training daily by myself at home before I went to the academy. Some of the boys trained even harder with me because they didn't want to get beat up by a girl. I was always covered in bruises due to the intense sparring training all year long. I suffered a lot of sexism and discrimination outside the academy because I was doing something that was not very appropriate and normal for girls at that time. I'm talking when I started about 37 years ago. The more people tried to put me down, the more I didn't care about their opinions. I pushed myself to be always my better version. Their disapproval only made me stronger and desired to achieve much more. I started teaching Taekwondo as a color bell. I was only 15 years old, always enjoying teaching. From a young age, I started to figure out the concepts of learning and explaining, which I developed through the years with all my good and bad experience as a student. Without any planning, after years of training, I turned into a pioneer in Taekwondo. I became the first woman in the entire state of Ceará to earn a black belt. I was promoted from my first instructors, Adalberto Benavides and Raul Gomes. They both were responsible for my initial years of instruction. In 1994, André and I met, and my life took an unexpected turn. I had visited the US a few times, but never had planned to live here. A new chapter started and ended up in moving to California. André and I got married. Quickly, we started to develop and plan the Lima Taekwondo and Martial Arts Academy. I was only in my very early 20s. I had a lot of pressure from many directions. I was in a new country, emerging a new life, new language, new culture, and with all my family thousands of miles from me in another country. All about the same time, we bought a small condo. I have become a business owner, wife, mother, and still must keep it up with my athletic Taekwondo skills to teach and still to compete with success. My responsibilities were intense and diverse for someone my age. My discipline, commitment, and purpose were keys to reaching my goals. I found a video with my daughter in that same condo. Start something from nothing is extremely difficult. Every organization you see with hundreds or thousands of people started with one idea, one humble beginning. Our organization started with a perfect partnership between André and I. Today I am a Grandmaster 7 Dan in Taekwondo. Also I am a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which I started in 1998. I had a very similar experience in my jiu-jitsu journey, due to the fact again there was not many women involved in jiu-jitsu in the 90s. In that era, the methodology and jiu-jitsu training in most of the academies was directed to a specific group of very athletic and strong men. The students were surfers, bouncers, security guards, and law enforcement. They were all very tough, extremely strong and big men. The training was very hardcore, intense, and brutal. Either you take the hardcore class without any complaints or just quit. There was no place for weak guys, especially for women. Some places did even accept the women as a student. With the passing of time, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu became very big and popular internationally. The mindset changed. The methodology of teaching took another direction. Jiu-Jitsu is very famous for self-defense in the ground. Most of the students now are the average people that want to become stronger and learn how to defend themselves. A lot of kids get attracted to it to defend themselves against bullying. Also, more women are looking to learn Jiu-Jitsu, but still intimidated to train in a typical male group class setting and with a male instructor. For that reason, in 2019, I decided to create and found my own women's-only Jiu-Jitsu program, using my own methodology and approach to teach women who want to learn realistic and effective self-defense in a safe, fun, and supportive environment, from a female instructor, from women to women. I want to offer to women what I didn't have during my Jiu-Jitsu journey. I had more reasons to quit than to continue to learn. I want them to have more reasons to continue to learn than to quit. This program is beyond Jiu-Jitsu. It is a women community from different ages and backgrounds, supporting each other in many ways in each class. For some of them, this class is the happiest time of the day. I feel obligated to make the best of it. With the success of the Women's Only Jiu-Jitsu program, and with so many requests from the parents, now, in 2024, we create the Kids Jiu-Jitsu for boys and girls between 8 to 12 years old. I also direct this program.
I was born in Brazil and I started training Taekwondo in the capital of Brazil, Brasilia, in the transition of the 1970s to the 1980s. At that time, there was a Taekwondo academy very close to my house, and that's where I started training with a Korean master. His name was Soo Myung Choi. With him, I learned all the basics of Taekwondo. I did my first tournaments as a teenager. In 1982, Master Soo Myung Choi, he sold his academy in Brasilia. He moved to Rio de Janeiro to open another academy in that state. And the new owner of the academy, Carlos Lodo, multiple times Brazilian national champion in Taekwondo, became my new instructor and mentor. In 1983, my family decided to move out of Brasilia, and they moved to the north of Brazil to a state called Ceará. When we arrived in Ceará, I found out there was no Taekwondo in that state. And I became, by accident, a pioneer of this Korean martial arts in the north of Brazil. I found a fitness gym about 2 blocks away from my house, and I asked them to teach Taekwondo there, and they accepted me. So I was not even 18 years old, and I started teaching. In Ceará, I started promoting Taekwondo for newspapers, magazines, and TV. I was in TV many times in local TV and national TV doing Taekwondo demonstrations, some crazy demonstrations, jumping over cars, jumping out of buildings, breaking boards, fighting. And with time, I was able to successfully develop Taekwondo in that state. I formed the first association, I trained the first black belts, I promoted the first competition, and I made Taekwondo popular in the state. From 1985 to 1987, I was pushing very hard to make the name of the art to be known by the public in Ceará. During that time, I ended up training karate, Shotokan karate. At the same time I was doing Taekwondo, I started doing karate so I could participate in their competition. So I competed in karate for a few years. And then in 1987, I decided to stop karate and I got involved in jiu-jitsu. I found a professor, his name was Sá, a pioneer of jiu-jitsu in the north of Brazil. I started training Brazilian jiu-jitsu with him, and I did about a year training. And then after that, I had one idea of moving to the United States. I had that idea for a long time, but in the beginning of 1988, I decided to do for real. Before I moved to America, I moved to Europe. I decided to compete in the European circuit of Taekwondo. So I moved to Europe. I lived there for almost 2 years. I was in Portugal and France, but I traveled all over fighting in Belgium, Spain, Luxembourg, France, Portugal. And I got a lot of medals, especially gold medals. And in Europe, I was exposed to the European media. I was in the European magazines. I started being front covers of the magazines, and that gave me a name. I started become famous worldwide in Taekwondo because of the tournaments and because of the magazines. Back then, there was no internet, so you had to be in magazine, newspapers, or TV. During the time in Europe, I had fun. I had a great time there, but after a while, my plan was to move to the United States. So in June of 1989, I arrived in New York City. I had a friend waiting for me. My friend Maher Labib was living in New York and helped me out in the beginning. I stayed in New York for a little bit, checking the local martial arts community. I met a lot of the American martial arts stars, and I continued to be in magazines, giving interviews. I was in the front cover of several magazines. I was in German, Italian, Spanish, French magazines, later Australian magazines, and South American, Brazilian, Argentinian, and finally in a lot of the magazines of the United States in late 80s, early 90s. In New York City, one day watching advertisement for a Gracie Jiu-Jitsu seminar that got my attention because I did Jiu-Jitsu in Brazil a little bit, and I saw that some of the Gracies, they arrive in America and they teach in Jiu-Jitsu, so I decided to check out the seminar. And then in that day I met Grandmaster Helio Gracie, I met Rickson Royce, Helson, and Rorion Gracie. Rorion told me that he was planning to open in the following year, in 1990, first Jiu-Jitsu Academy in the United States. So I kept in contact with him, and he sent me the invitation. I still have the invitation for the grand opening of the first Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Academy in 1990. So in California, I kept training and I started competing in the American circuit of Taekwondo tournaments, local and international tournaments between 1991, 92 up to 93. I won several gold medals at the black belt heavyweight division. I basically won almost everything that I participated. And I got my green card pretty fast because Taekwondo was becoming an Olympic sport, and I had the help of Kwan Sung Choi, the president of the California Taekwondo Federation. He wrote a very strong letter to help me, and I got approved for special skills green card, or special ability. And another friend, J.J. Perry, wrote another letter, offered me a job to teach in his Taekwondo Academy, which I did. I ended up working with him for a few years. And I restarted Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu later on, around early 1993. I ended up training with the Machado brothers. As soon as they opened the first academy in Redondo Beach, California, I was there training with them. And then in 1994, I met Cristiane Paiva in one of my trips to Brazil. We got along pretty well, and she moved to America. We got married, and we started planning the opening of our own academy, Lima Taekwondo and Martial Arts Academy, which we did in the mid-90s, and we flourished. We did very well both. Even though we're kind of young, we had a lot of experience in Taekwondo, and I kept working, doing many things. I did work in movies, and I was with the magazines, articles. I wrote a lot of articles for magazines later on. I was in books. Eventually, I was inducted to the Taekwondo Hall of Fame, which was pretty big for me. In the United States, we met all kinds of martial arts celebrities, Chuck Norris, Van Damme, Steven Seagal, and many others. And we now are completing 30 years of academy, and I am getting close to be 50 years in martial arts, half century dedicated to martial arts. I'm almost 9 done in Taekwondo. In 2026, I'll be testing for 9 done. I have my black belt in karate, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and that's the life here. It's a lifelong passion. Taekwondo and martial arts gave me the opportunity to live in the United States, to travel the world, to make great friends among my students, and we're gonna keep going for a very long time to come. At Lima Martial Arts Academy, the students are the center of our universe. They always been that way since the beginning. We know several thousand of students already passed by our classes, and the reasons we hear from the students that they take martial arts are: the first one, we always hear discipline, especially for the kids. But other people say for develop more focus, for fitness reason, people want to get in shape, especially in the beginning of the year. We have a lot of sign-ups in January, February, and people claim they have a resolution to get in good shape. There is a self-defense reason, very important to a lot of people. For therapy, A lot of people, they use the class, the martial arts training for therapeutic reasons. When they come to the academy, they forget about all the problems and they concentrate on the training, on the kicks, punch, or if they're doing jiu-jitsu, they cannot think about problems because they have to be very concentrate on the training. And we even heard people say they take martial arts because it's exotic. But that's not a lot of people, but we hear that once in a while. To be part of a martial arts training academy, it's not only physical, but also there is a social reason. When you are in the academy, you interact with a lot of people, you make new friends, and that's also very important to a lot of people, especially some kids. Some students, they tell us that the best part of that day is when they come to the academy, is the 1 or 2 hours they spend in the academy. So knowing that, we always try to keep the academy nice, clean. We think the academy for us is a second home. After our home, that's the place that we spend more time. And we know it's a second home to a lot of other people. So we have to keep the academy always nice and in control. We can teach everyone. If you have no talent, and if you have no background in any sports, your coordination is not that good, we are able to teach you. We have a very good methodology, especially for beginners. We do training step by step, very systematic. We break down things in a very safe way. We've been very successful with teaching people for 30 years. We know we are in a business of changing lives. Some people walk in weak, very out of shape, and after some time they are strong, they are in good shape. Martial arts is a way of life, it's a sport, and it is one of the most important things to a lot of people. For me, for example, at our academy we have different programs. We have the Little Ninjas classes for kids 3 to 5 years old. We have the juniors, which is from 6 to 11, 12 years old. And we have adult training. We have the teenagers and adult training together. We have classes for the competition team. We have classes for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And there were times before that we had different martial arts at our academies. Every time somebody get inside our doors, the life will change. We're gonna have fun. The martial arts training is about overcome, about improvement, and it's a therapy for many people. We change lives, we make a difference. And our students, through the years, we observe that a lot of the students, most people, they do 6 months to a year. But a lot of people, when they pass a year, then they will be there 2, 3 years. Maybe they will get a black belt. Normally, average, a black belt takes about 4 years. Some people can do in less than 4 years. Other people take longer. But we know that with the kids, with the juniors, out of 100 of them that sign up, 1 will get a black belt. And the adults, out of 50, 1 will get a black belt. And we have people that stay in the academy and they never quit. They become our family members. Because when they reach 7, 8 years, 10 years, we are already very close to them. We actually make a special celebration when somebody get to 10 years at the academy.
This group of loyal students and families are considered as a VIP. They never quit coming no matter what life brings to them. They have a next level of higher discipline and dedication. To celebrate such a higher commitment, every few years we organize a gala event and reunion for those with at least 10 years as a member. We honor them with an appreciation plate as a recognition.
It's nice to meet all the other people that are here. Congratulations to those getting plaques. Taekwondo is a big part of my life, and I have Melina to thank for that. And you know, competing was fun and all that, but it made a big impact. It's actually been 30 years since I first started doing martial arts. It was the spring semester of my freshman year of college, so I came to it actually a little later than most of you. But it's been an important part of my life, and an important part, I think, just of giving me confidence in my life, and I think it does the same.
Good people to be around. And when I go into the studio, it's a joy to be there, not just because of the masters and how great they are, but because of all of you who are there as well. And you're all just amazing people, and it's been an honor to be at the martial arts studio, Lima Academy, for 10 years. Yeah! It's been an honor training with the Limas and all the masters at Lima Taekwondo Academy, and with all of you guys. You, as Jake said, it's a second family,
and Toby and all the other people that we've trained with, good to see your faces, and the new ones, good to know you all, and the young ones keep going, it gives me such pride, and
I'm really thankful for all that Taekwondo has given me, and I feel like through all the years, like it's helped me grow and like improve my behavior overall, and like also.
Yes, it has been a life-changing experience for me. Besides the physical progress and mental aspect of it is tremendous. Even it helps me in business every day. Practice to be everyday business. Practice to anyone.
done. I feel like I've grown so much, not only as an athlete, but as a person. And I know I'm not actively training right now, but I want to. I'm still practicing on my body.
As a Korean, there's one thing that you have to do continuously throughout your life, and that's to practice Taekwondo, and now I know why. To live in
As said, it is like a second family to me, and I do love my Taekwondo family. Taekwondo has helped me better as a person and an athlete, but I just want to say thank you.
Anytime soon, and it's overall really helped me in life, in school, in sports, water polo, and it's just one of the greatest experiences I could ever ask for.
This is much more than a school, a martial arts academy. With the traveling that we've done, with the time that these people have all spent together, it is so much more like a family. And
It's been such a journey for me. In 16 years, that's a long time. It's a long time. And I've got to see so many kids grow up, and so many families grow up, and I've got to be part of so many different stories that have affected my own story.
They've been helping me, supporting me for the past about 10 years, 12. You know, I've been annoying Master Henry.
I will say that doing martial arts has helped me a lot in life, and I very much admire my parents for going after their dreams. They never really forced me, even though they said that, to do things that I didn't want to do. I know that I'm a musical theater performer, so that's a very different dream in itself. But they were always so supportive of that because of the dream that they've had. So thank you very much for coming here.
From the beginning, they are the most giving, sharing people that I've met. I've met anybody more giving and caring and helpful to everybody. People from all over the world would come and they need a place to stay, maybe you can get a visa, maybe need some advice on how to live here, maybe financially they weren't doing well. They would open their home, they would open their pocket on occasion. I'm not saying anybody, you guys folks go and ask for something.
Thank you so much. Taekwondo is fun. Everybody say, oh, you got black belt and so much work. I say, no. Isso doesn't good. Highlight of my people for fazer things. Doesn't do you guys do?
I arrived at the Lima Academy in September of 1998. I must say that the experience has been life-changing as it allowed me to develop myself to become a better person with what life's challenges have been presented to me over the past 20 years. Maintaining training discipline, it has been a big challenge to become a better martial artist and a better human being.
The power. And I would visualize Taekwondo and that I was going to get back. And through every challenge, experience, Taekwondo gives you power of mind and spirit, not just body. And that's why I love it, because it has the philosophy that's gotten me through so many challenges in my life.
In the year of 2008, we decided to organize Black Belt Reunion. It was supposed to be a medium-sized reunion. We contacted between 35 and 40 black belts, and we told them to spread the word and contact the other black belts, because we had lost contact with some of our old black belts. Some of them actually moved to other cities and other countries. So the whole thing started at like a medium size, and we organized that in that year. And then when we start getting close, we start getting calls and emails and texts from many other people interested in showing up on the Black Belt Reunion. So suddenly we start seeing that, wow, this is gonna be a little bit big. And then when the day came, we had more than 100 black belts showing up on our Black Belt Reunion. It's like all these people coming together after some time without seeing each other. It was a wonderful social gathering attended by members. There was people that traveled from other cities, came to California just to get together at the academy. And we had a great time. We had different generations of black belts, all meeting each other, having a good time. We are planning to do that again in the future. We know it's gonna be a lot bigger, but this became a moment in time that we of course documented with pictures and videos, and was phenomenal to see all that people together. Friends, some of our black belts actually, they own their own schools, some in California, others in different states, and we had more than 100 people. So we have this moment as a special moment in the history of our academy, because it was basically a meeting to honor the past, all the training that people had there for several years. It was a celebration of that year 2008, and was it became an inspiration for the future of the academy. So the Black Belt Reunion in 2008 is part of the history of Lima Martial Arts Academy.
This segment is dedicated to our Taekwondo team of instructors. We select instructors that work with us for at least 1 year. Here we are showing a total of 4 of them. We have 3 levels of instructors: lead instructor, assistant instructor, volunteers, which are instructors in training. The lead instructor is the instructor that can do anything on the mats. He or she lead the class, teaching all levels of students, like beginners, intermediate, and advanced, also competition team. The lead instructor is responsible for the rank of the students, as giving stripes, also to tell the students when it's ready for a belt test. Assistant instructors, they can lead some of the warm-ups, but always with the guide of the lead instructors. They are not allowed to give any ranks or to tell students when they are ready to do a belt test. Volunteers, since they are instructors in training, we have normally on the summers some kids and also teenagers, they want to be instructors in the future, so they follow the leader of the lead instructor and also assistant instructor. We normally give small groups to them so they can teach forms. They also can stay with small groups, especially some of the younger kids as beginners. In our Taekwondo teaching program, we follow 5 specific guidelines: professionalism, methodology, leadership, motivation, and mediator. Professionalism is a set of standards that an instructor is expected to have in the workplace in order to appear serious, uniform, and respectful. The way instructors dress, talk to people, and behave on the mats must always be professional. Methodology. Instructors should identify which teaching methods will be proper to use to each level of students, especially for the beginners, maintain always safety as a priority. Leadership is the ability to guide the students. Instructor must be solid and confident in front of a group of students. Sometimes have a leadership is one of the hard qualifications for instructor, since has to be with the personality. They cannot be shy, they have to show always confidence in front of the group. Motivation. Instructor must motivate all the students, be always positive and encourage students to achieve their goals. Instructors should not be in a bad mood when they're teaching, they should not be negative, and they should not make bad comments about students. They always have to be positive. Mediator. Instructors need to be a person who attempts to make people involved in a conflict come to a solution and don't let the problem progress. This can happen inside and outside the mats. Sometimes you may gonna have students, they have an argument in a line by example, 2 kids, they're fighting about something. So instructors should identify the problem and come to a solution. Either change those kids in a different line and talk to them after or during class in private to resolve the problem and to not let this keep going and increase more and more. In the year of 2000, I started getting invited to teach in local private schools. They want Lima Taekwondo go to them. A lot of the students, they didn't have the time after school to come to our location because they are over there 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. So some private schools start contact us to take our knowledge, our teaching to those kids. And the program started getting very successful. I started with only 3 students, and then I saw I had between 30 to 50 students in Taekwondo, so I had actually to open different times to teach them a very quality Taekwondo class. The word started getting around, so more schools got to contact us. So it was like to have a second location, because second and third location depends on how many schools you have, because I have to take instructors with me, and we have to develop a place that didn't have like the bags that you have in the location. We just have to work with paddles, and you have to be very creative for that. Some of the students, they get so into Taekwondo that after some time, after a year learning, they decide to move to our location because they want to grow. On those after-school programs, we don't get them until they have intermediate level, do not really advance, because we cannot teach much sparring over there. So for them to learn appropriate forms and the sparring techniques, they have to come to our location. We actually form several black belts from the program because they move it here, and also we have some kids that decide to do evening competitions. So it's very popular. I've been teaching for over 25 years in those locations, and sometimes I'm planning to stop, but I never stop, I keep going. At the moment, I'm actually teaching the Jiu-Jitsu program for kids as well, which start growing a lot. And you see what's the future hold for us.
Since we started the academy 30 years ago, we always participate in competition. I'm not going to talk about a Taekwondo competition. Taking in consideration that we participate 5 or 6 times a year in tournaments, and it's been 30 years, so it's about 180 competitions at the local, state level, nationals, and sometimes international level. In average, we have about 25 people on our team. And if you do the math, 180 times 25, that's 4,500 participations in tournaments and competitions. So it is impossible to show everything we did in 6 minutes. We have hundreds of videos, several thousands of pictures. We chose to use the pictures because you can see better. So we selected 150 pictures on this slideshow. You can see the beginning, the picture is paper. And then when the slideshow progresses, you can see digital pictures, and by the end you're gonna see some of them. You can tell we took them out of our social media. So you're gonna be able to see not only the evolution of the technology of the pictures, but also the different generations of students that took part in all kinds of Taekwondo competitions through these 3 decades. We compete in sparring, kyoto-gi, and forms, punse. Our specialty is sparring, always being sparring. Fighting is the most important. But we also do very well in forms, punse. Some of our instructors and members already being part of the US national team competing internationally at the World Championships. So we don't do a bad job in forms. Competition at the academy, it's never mandatory. We don't tell people to compete. Normally they approach us and they show interest in competing. So we take them to our competition training and we watch them, and if they are not ready, we tell them they need more time and they have to train hard, because we don't go out there in tournaments to participate, we go there to win. The most important lesson in martial arts, I always say, is discipline. But if you compete, you need a higher level of discipline, because you're gonna need to do things perfect. In martial arts, we compete individually, but the training is in a team, it's teamwork. The competition training and the competition itself is going to teach you, and especially the younger generation, it's gonna teach them how to deal with pressure, how to deal with exhaustion, how to deal with pain. They're gonna really learn what's winning and what's losing about. We had a few students that never lost competition, but that's very isolated cases. Normally, once in a while you're gonna lose, and you're gonna have to learn how to transform a loss into a lesson. Another thing that we always see it at our competition team is that we have a lot of kids, and many times the parents get involved, and that's a good thing. We always tell the parents to support the kids. They need support, especially when they lose or when they are tired or when they're having a hard time. And once in a while, parents cross the line and start going crazy, and then that creates drama, and sometimes kids, they end up quitting because of the parents. And that's one thing that we see it once in a while at the training of our teams. We normally train for competition on Saturday. That's a tradition that I carry with me. I saw in other schools, and when I was a kid in Brazil, my school, there was a competition training on Saturday, 3-4 hours. So we carry on with this tradition here. We train during the week, and then on the weekends is the special competition training, and it's fun. If you like it, you're gonna have fun. It's positive, and it's something that you're gonna always remember and love that you did. Through the years, we had at our academy different styles of martial arts. We had karate, we had esgrima, Kali, it's a Filipino martial arts. They stay with us for a long time, mostly at our location in the South Bay. We had capoeira. We had capoeira for many years. First, we had Capoeira Brazil, which is a group. This group is directed by Beto Simas, Mestre Boneco. So he used to be in charge. But then after they left, and we had Mestre Preguiça. He's very famous pioneer of capoeira, and he was here for many years teaching, but then he decided to move to Japan. But he was our headmaster. But the martial arts that we had for the longest was, and it is, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. When we opened, we had Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in the 90s. As a matter of fact, this academy is pioneer of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu here in the United States. We are one of the first Brazilians to own this kind of business and to offer Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. At that time, Chris and I were not black belts in Jiu-Jitsu, but we had our first instructor, Rick Minter. Rick Minter was the first African-American black belt in Jiu-Jitsu, one of the first Americans to get a black belt. He got it from the Machado brothers. Rick Minter was involved in other martial arts. He was a black belt in karate. He was a member of Danny Nozanto Martial Arts Academy, Jeet Kune Do. We hired him when we opened the academy. At that time, there was no Jiu-Jitsu, almost nothing in the United States. Here in California, there was maybe 4 or 5 places to offer. Today, there is more than 1,000 Brazilians teaching, and there is a few thousand of Americans teaching Jiu-Jitsu across the country. That was the beginning of Jiu-Jitsu here with Rick Minter, and we continue later with Gerson Sanginito. Gerson was from Rio de Janeiro. I met him at the Machado Academy at that time, and at one point Rick Minter, he decided to quit teaching, so we had Gerson Sanginito taking over his position here and working with us at the academy. I trained with Gerson for many years. The time he was here was very fun. My wife, Master Cristiane, started training with him. She's a black belt now, and she started with him her first steps in Jiu-Jitsu, learning the basics. Interesting about Gerson is because at that time, he came in '98, and he stayed with us until 2004. He was connected with the Gracie Barra in Rio, and he would bring a lot of people here to train with us, or sometimes they're in vacation, they came here. So we had here, I have pictures here of Ralph Gracie. I had Gordo, Nino, Tinguinha. Tinguinha now has his organization, his own academies. I remember Carlos Gracie Jr., I have a picture of him here. He came here one time. And Marcio Feitosa, Sapão, and many others. After Gerson opened his own academy in 2004, we had John Machado join forces with us. With John Machado, we formed another very strong partnership. John Machado had a big following of students when he came to our Culver City Academy, and later opened his classes on our location in the South Bay, and he basically doubled his number of students. John stayed with us for about 9 years, maybe a little bit more than 9. His methodology of teaching beginners was very good. John Machado had 0 injuries in his classes, and that was one of his secrets of the success. During the time that John Machado was with us, he formed approximately 25 black belts, maybe a little bit more. So we had several famous fighters training at our academy. I remember Dan Henderson, UFC champion, and Thierry Sukuju, another UFC fighter. They used to train with us. Rico Rodriguez, Lyoto Machida came a few times. There were several Pride fighters, and one that really I got really friendly with him was Dan Inosanto, the legendary Bruce Lee student. Dan Inosanto used to come to our Culver City Academy for several years in the morning and train with John Machado. So John Machado was a very good time, very good jiu-jitsu. We had great memories. Eventually, he decided to move to Texas and open a brand new academy in Dallas. After John Machado leave, we had John Owano and Perry Hoke moving in. They came from a different lineage, was a Carson Gracie lineage. They formed an organization called Tsunami Jiu-Jitsu. They stayed with us for many years, and eventually Perry left during the pandemic. John Owano stayed a couple more years, and then after, we had Chris Wolford for a short time, for about a year, was a member of the Carson Gracie lineage. And then, in the beginning of 2024, we had Professor Ika Medina, 6th degree black belt, old friend of mine. We used to train together in very early 90s at the first Machado Jiu-Jitsu Academy in Redondo Beach, at the original Machado Jiu-Jitsu Academy. That's when I met Professor Ika. He's a Pan American champion. He fought in a lot of tournaments, have a lot of experience, and he's here with us right now. In Jiu-Jitsu, we actually in 2020 started our own program directed by my wife, Cristiane Lima. She started the women's only Jiu-Jitsu classes, and she's been very successful in her classes with a very good methodology. She have a lot of students, and after she started the women's program, she started the kids jiu-jitsu. That's kind of new and it's been doing really good. We are concentrate in teaching kids from 8 to 12 years old, but we have some kids younger than 8. The kids jiu-jitsu is the new thing that we have. Started first at the Culver City location and then on the Harbor City location, and is directed by Cristiane Lima. I also participate on the Kids Jiu-Jitsu program, and that's our story of the Jiu-Jitsu at the Lima Martial Arts Academy. 30 years later, we are here. Now the whole ecosystem of martial arts in California is different. The Brazilians are dominating the market of academies of martial arts. This is due to the wave of mixed martial arts, UFC, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. In California alone, as of right now, there is more than 250 Brazilians that own this kind of business. There is way more than 1,000 Brazilians teaching martial arts in the United States right now. It's like a colonization. And by coincidence, we are Brazilians. In the beginning, it was a different picture. Chris and I, we are the first group of Brazilians to open this kind of business in the United States. I don't know exactly what is the number. I remember in 1990 was the first academy opened by Rorion Gracie. In 93 was the second by the Machado brothers. And then there was another 2, maybe 3, I believe. We are possibly number 5, number 6. Both of us, we are pioneers of the Brazilian community owning this kind of business here in America. This academy is also pioneer of teaching Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in the United States. When we opened, Chris and I, at that time, we are not black belts in Jiu-Jitsu, but we hired Rick Minta, he was our first Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu instructor, and he was a black belt. So this academy now, 30 years later, is legendary, and we know that. People around the world know about us. People from all over the globe visit us all the time. They know us already when they come here. When we travel, when we go to Europe, Asia, people talk to us and say they already know us. This academy is history, and we are not done yet. We are fresh, strong, and hungry for more. We have no plans of retirement. You cannot retire from a passion. This is not a job, it's a passion. We start very young, like kids, and we're doing what we love. And another thing, we had here through the years celebrities, movie stars. We had famous fighters, UFC champions, masters training here. We wanted to thank the United States of America. We want to thank this country because the United States of America is the #1 country in the world. It was 30 years ago, it is now, and it's gonna continue to be in the future. The reason of our success, it's many things, but one thing is to be here, to be in the United States. That gave us credibility worldwide, name, and we are very thankful to the country to have us coming here as immigrants. And of course we are citizens now, but this country is really paradise to me.
As you can see, we are true proof the American dream exists. There is no luck here, but hard work, dedication, and really passion for what you do. We love what you do. And thank you so much for all the students that passed through our school in the last 30 years. We have many, many years to go and a lot of history to make.